Here with Coach Nimz as Demons get ready for a couple home games this week, starting with HCU on Thursday. And Coach, before we even talk about that, a couple quick thoughts on, I guess specifically the Lamar game last week. Played some good defense, held on to the ball like I know we always want to do, but sometimes you got to tip your hat to a really good player and a really good performance. And number 3 for Lamar had a really good night.
Yeah, the kid had back-to-back 29-point games. I thought the girls that worked to guard her, obviously, I thought they did a nice job. And, in the sense of all-out effort, I thought they stayed locked in. But the young lady had just a phenomenal night. She's a great player. And sometimes great players have big nights, and that kid absolutely did. However, had we taken care of business on the opposite end and not giving up 19 offensive rebounds, obviously that's a lot of possessions that we just kind of missed. And after having reflecting and gone and backwatched film, probably missed 10 bunnies which should have been absolutes. So kind of hurt ourselves in that position. But again, I think there were some positives. We only had 10 turnovers against a great defensive team. We had 3 kids in double digits. We're trying to keep it around 4 and 5 kids in double digits, making sure everybody's just kind of doing their job, but everybody kind of having a touch on that ball. So there's a lot of growing points. I absolutely think Lamar was the better team that day, but I don't know that they were 18 points better. I think we kind of did that one a little bit to ourselves. But again, Acacia Davis, Sabria Dean, that's a two-headed monster right there, and we're going to have to do better next time for sure.
You mentioned the turnovers and want to get some more in-depth thoughts on that. Like I said, only 10 against Lamar, 15 against McNeese. Those are right around those kind of goals that you set for the team every game. What's been the difference in these first 2 conference games to that's allowed us to kind of limit those turnovers?
We talk a lot about poise and composure and pass fake passes, and it's a lot of stuff. Same thing written on the board most days. And I think they just played with a little more composure. I think we were able to see the court maybe a little bit better, take a deep breath, and make some smarter possessions out of that. Both games, and so like I said, I was proud of them, and we just got to keep dialing that number back. Although 15's not or is right where we talk about, we got to keep getting that back down, 15, 14, 13. And as the season progresses, we need to live in that 10 to 12 era or area. But, that can't be expected right now. We play a fast style of basketball. Sometimes when you play fast, it causes for some goofy turnovers. But we got to really limit the unforced ones where we're just making poor decisions. And I think, again, against Lamar, I think they made some better decisions. We just weren't able to capitalize on them and get the ball in the bucket. But then on the defensive end, we just didn't stay locked in for 40 in the same way we did against McNeese.
Moving into the game against HCU, interesting game in that us and them have really kind of mirrored each other in a lot of ways. Both have had times where we've struggled on offense. Rebounding's been solid throughout the season for both teams, but when it's that close in a lot of those kind of statistical categories, how often does it just come down to the turnover margin or just the general overall effort that one team has over the other?
Yeah, I think it's going to, obviously, I think any coach is going to be telling their kids the tougher team wins. Sometimes the best team doesn't win. It's the tougher team that wins. So it's going to be those gritty possessions. Absolutely going to have to capitalize. You got to be able to take care of the ball, win the rebounding war, take care of those 2 things. But I would say something that both teams, it's whose ball's going in the net. Whose ball's going in the bucket, because I think HCU does a great job of executing, and sometimes their shots just haven't fallen. And I think when we really go back and study our film, we're executing. It's just sometimes the shots aren't falling. So, what we're hoping for is the girls had a good week of first class. We've had some individuals get some extra shooting in, and they just have the confidence that we need to go into this game, because it's a big game, it's a home game, and we got to protect Prather.
I got to ask you about as well, their sort of go-to type of player. Collins, she's leading their team in scoring, leading them in rebounding, top 5 in the conference in both of those categories. What makes her special?
Well, she's just a dynamic player. I think she's a player that can score on all 3 levels. I think she has the capability of leading. She's a young lady that can play inside, but she has the ball skill and the ability to hit the perimeter shot, just like a guard. So she's a tough matchup. I think she plays hard for 40 minutes. I don't think there's any let up. You can tell that in their last game. And so to me, if you got a player that's all in all the time, that's a special thing, especially when you pair it with her talent.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck in these couple home games.
Thank you much. Forkham Demons.